When it feels like you're failing at everything, do you ask yourself, why do I always feel like I'm failing, no matter how I try? I'm there right now. And if that question has been circling in your mind lately, you're not alone. And by the way, you're not broken either. Today, we're going to talk about in this session when life hits you hard and your brain is whispering that you should be handling this better. Everyone else is figuring it out. Why can't you? What's wrong with me? Why can't you be stronger? We're going to talk about what's really happening and why this doesn't define you and how you're stronger than you think you are. But there's some resources and understanding that you need too. So if this resonates with you, stay with us today because you're not alone.
Welcome to That Shit Doesn't Define You Stories of Hope, Season 4. This season, we're having the honest conversations that no one prepares you for. When you feel like you're failing, when caregiving drains you to your core, when your body stops cooperating under stress, if you're walking through a season that feels heavy, sacred, exhausting, or uncertain, you're not broken, and this season does not define you. Let's begin.
Right, Jada?
Exactly. And can you believe that we're back for Season 4 already?
No, it's crazy, but I'm so excited because, we do this because we want to help other people. We want people to know that they're not alone. And Jada, as, this season that we're doing, Season 4, we're going to be really raw, transparent, and we're going to get to the nitty gritty of things because people are hurting. As I'm going to be sharing a lot of my own story like normal, but there's a lot of people really hurting. And they do feel like they're alone and they do want answers of how do I keep going? And so I really hope that the people listening, you guys will like and subscribe, right? This is a social media thing. They require us to do that to have any kind of authenticity or impact. So please do that. But more importantly, please share this with people. Okay? Please share this with people. I will just say, just yesterday, I was able to give a speech and people were standing in line, wanting me to pray over them, Jada, wanting me just to give them a hug and just saying, hey, thank you for being honest and transparent. You're right. We're struggling. So there are people that need to hear this. And so I'm excited. But you guys, we need you to like, subscribe, and share. So I'm excited about this season because I hope that it has a really powerful impact. And honestly, it'll be a little therapeutic for me. So bear with me. I was just teasing with Jada to be totally transparent. I said, I look tired, so at least they'll know it's real. So, I did my best. I did those little patchy things, under my eyes this morning. I did all the things, but, it's okay. So I wanted to start, with a story that's just true, right? I want to be honest right now, you guys, if you haven't heard, if this is your first podcast with us, welcome. But if you've been following us, I do hope, that you've been along with the journey with us. But I'm walking in a very difficult season in my life right now. And I'm trying to hold it together. I'm trying to hold my consulting business together, which you guys is emerging and it's supposed to be compounding, right? And that's a lot of pressure. Like that should be my full-time, all-time job. Jada, can you imagine if I only had to do that?
Oh my gosh.
I would do really well at it. But anyway,
Yeah.
but I have to do that. I still have a home building business that I have to be very much in tuned with because the market and there's so many things. If you guys listen to our referral roadmap, our other podcast about business, it's come crazy time right now. And so we have to be agile and innovative and creative and stay on top of it right now as well. And I still have employees that I have to lead. I still have people who follow me that I need to lead. I still have to, I'm decision fatigued because I still have to make financial decisions personally and professionally. And those things wear you out. Those things alone can wear you out. And and then the other thing is, I have my currently right now my own health, right? I thank God, praise God, I've lost 84 pounds and I continue to maintain that, but my body is under extreme fatigue. It has been shaking. My hands have been shaking for months now. I've been to the doctor, done all the testing, what have you. Um, and I finally figured out a routine, by the way, just to help it shake less. And that is I consume ridiculous amounts of protein in the morning before I allow myself any caffeine. Like, we're
Interesting.
talking 40 grams of protein in the morning before I'm allowed caffeine has stabilized them, but not taken it away. But it's just me giving my body some extra oomph right
Mhm.
now while it's in fatigue. So all of this is happening, and that's a lot. I have put the nonprofit, I will tell you, I've kind of taken a sabbatical from that at the current moment, which means I'm taking a break. If you don't know what a sabbatical means, but all of this is happening, and will be the first time I say this on air and publicly, that I've been sharing with you guys that my daughter is struggling in her health. She has been for about 18 now, almost 2 years. But several months ago, it was time to put her in hospice care and understand that her little body is at the end of its time for her fight. And she's frail, she's tired, her body's tired. And so I am literally, while doing all the things that I just told you, I'm literally spending my last minutes with my daughter while she is suffering and in pain and all the things. And I laugh, and Jada and I have even laughed about this. I'm like, "Man, I almost wish I worked for a big company because then I could take some family medical leave act and
Yeah.
take a break, right?"
Mhm.
But being an entrepreneurial person, that is not an option that I have, not an option that my husband has. So I just wanted to talk in this season about what is sustaining me, what some of the things that I'm seeing other people, what's sustaining them. And I want to be transparent. I'm exhausted. And at an exhausted level, guys, that I have never experienced before. It's at like a cellular level. There's not enough sleep. I literally have been going to bed where I'm in bed for 9 to 10 hours a night and I wake up exhausted. Because I'm learning, there are things going on in my body that I can't control, that there's when you're a long-term caregiver, um, and or somebody you love is passing away, there are things that are happening subconsciously that you can't control. So, there's moments I'm scared, there's moments I'll be driving down the road, Jada, and I just start crying. And like I can't make it stop. It's just I gotta cry, I gotta dot my I's and keep going. And so a lot of people are like, "How are you doing it?" Um, and I'm gonna share that in this entire season. I'm gonna share with you all the things that I'm doing, that keep me going. But I also wanna say something that's very interesting. A lot of people, when you are going through hardship, you tend to look at yourself negatively. Like, for example, just getting really raw, Jada and I are gonna have a little therapy with you guys. But I have a huge bank account of friendships, and I can say this openly because it's true. I invest a lot of my time and energy into those friendships, and I give a lot, and I pray for people, and I'm there for them. But I feel really alone right now. I have very few friends that are reaching out to me, and when they do, they are just like, "I'm praying for you," and then hands off. They don't know what to say, what to do, how to be in this very difficult. So there are those negative thoughts, listeners and Jada, that get you like, well, then people don't really love me. I must not be, I must have been lying to myself about all these friendships. And you really are alone and you're going to all the stuff. And I know, Jada, you're going to unpack some of the psychology that's going on.
Mhm.
And all of that is true. I mean, it's true, meaning it's happening. You feel that way,
Mhm.
but it's not necessarily true. So you can feel it, right? And the emotions can be authentic, but what is creating the emotion may not have 100% truth in it.
And speaking from
Yeah.
the other perspective of that, just like to, add some color to the
Yeah.
conversation is I had a friend last year that she lost her mom. And I I've never lost a parent. And so I didn't know how to sit with her in that grief, truthfully. And I wasn't the best friend. And, she told me after the fact, like, hey, I wish you would have checked in on me more. And I told her, I was like, honestly, I didn't know what to say. And I think that that is just a real position that a lot of people are in if they haven't gone through what you're currently going through is what do you say to someone that's grieving or to someone that's going through such a hard time that you don't know what to say. And at the end of the day, there's no words that bring comfort. And that's what I learned through it is there's nothing that you can say or do that can bring comfort other than just sitting with your friend in it. And so just to add like color to that side of the conversation too, if you maybe you're not going through something hard right now, but maybe you know someone that is and you just don't know how to be there for them, truly just being there, being a
Mhm.
human that they can talk to is, you know,
Yes. I think that's gonna be a
part of-
whole I
yeah.
think, that'll be a whole 'nother podcast because you're right, I'm learning a lot in this. But I will say and I appreciate you mentioning that because it is, right? You don't know what to say. And especially in and the other thing is I think we need to fix it for them,
Hmm.
and there's no fixing it.
Yeah.
It's just
There's no
walking
fixing it.
with
Yeah.
there's no fixing this,
Yeah.
you know? But the other part of it is that so that compound thing is happening where people don't know how to interact with you. And then can I just be honest? I am dropping balls at work like I've never dropped before in my life. I'm missing deadlines. I'm not getting stuff done at my normal capacity. And you just feel like I'm tired all the time. I'm failing. I suck. I'm a failure. I'm telling you guys. And if you're listening and if you are going through any type of hardship, I know you know what I'm talking about. Where you're just like, well, it's me. It's my fault. It's me. I'm the problem. And I just want to say what we want to talk about today is here, hey, the reality is, yeah, my friends are being scarce. The reality is I'm exhausted. The reality is I am dropping balls. Those are all true. But I need to change my perspective in this season so that I am successful through this season as I walk through it, transformed into a better person and learn from it. And that's what we want to give you in this season is how can these things be real? Because they're real. I'm not saying I'm not dropping balls, but how do you change your perspective and how do you walk through it and come out of it better, transformed in a better way. And that's what I think our hearts are for this season. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys is that I'm feeling those things. So I've asked Jada, usually we do a lot of stats and statistics, and we're going to still do facts and research. But what we want to do this season is we're going to have Jada kind of unpack the psychological things that are going on so that we can get some clarity so that I'm just going to use myself as the example, right? When I'm looking in the mirror, because this happens a lot right now, when I look in the mirror and I'm like, where's your old you? Where's the woman who could do all of that and have energy at the end of the day? Where's she at? And when I'm looking at her, I need the things that Jada is about to tell us so that I can remind myself to have a little bit of grace and less shame and condemnation to myself. And so that's what we want to share with you guys. And of course, you guys, we're still going to do the rubber meets the road. And because we want to give you practical. So just so you guys understand kind of the flow of this, we're going to be talking about stories. We're going to be very transparent and honest. We're going to talk about the psychology, give you rubber meets the road. And in a number of cases, we're also going to link some. We're excited about this. We're going to link some of my courses and classes, right?
Hmm.
That we're building currently right now. So I kind of think if I can give you guys a little secret, I think that God is going to use all this for me to create a bunch of content in order to help other people. I just gave a speech about it yesterday. Anyway, it's going to be good, right? I'm going through hell, but it's going to be good on the inside of it. And my daughter's going to go to heaven. And so that will be beautiful too. So Jada, tell us, can you unpack this for us? So you think about me looking in the mirror and being like, you suck.
Well, first off, I want to tell you you don't suck. And I mean, everyone just heard you say you're dropping balls at work, but I also want to combat that like lie with the fact that you have always been someone who achieves far more than anyone else can that I know in a 24-hour period. And so, although, yes, you may be dropping balls and missing deadlines, you are by no stretch of the imagination performing like under a normal standard
So look at you guys.
employee
She
might.
gave me a compliment and I got red. Look, I can talk about the hard stuff and I don't get whatever. She gives me a compliment and I just turn bright red. I'm sure that's a trauma response. Somebody can get a hold of that right there. But anyway, go
Yeah, so
ahead.
I'm just
Thank
gonna
you for
speak that
that.
life into you. And then
Exactly.
the other thing I wanted to really address is naming the shame like you were talking about.
Yeah.
So, underneath that quiet shame, you may hear something that says, if I was truly strong or capable, faithful, disciplined, then I wouldn't be falling apart. And that's just not true. The truth is that no one tells you is that your capacity didn't shrink, your load that you're carrying just became unbearable. And so, some things that I want to just note that caregiving alone carries. So, specifically for, Athena, right now, you are a caregiver, but you're a caregiver in a whole new capacity right now than you have been. And so anyone else that's listening that may be finding themselves in this same position, caregiving alone carries grief that you feel before the loss even happens, a fear that you can't switch off. So, Athena, that's probably part of why you're going to sleep for 9, 10 hours and waking up still exhausted because you can't switch that part of your brain off. It's just not possible. And then decisions that no parent should have to make if you're caregiving for your child, those are just very weighty and heavy decisions. And then emotional burnout that doesn't show up on the outside. So, those are four things that just caregiving alone is going to carry through your body. And so then you add in leadership, finances, expectations, the pressure to feel okay or be okay. It's no wonder that your brain and your body are feeling overwhelmed. And so I just want to speak that into you. Like, that's not a weakness. That is your human psychology and grief and the responsibility that you're carrying just colliding. And so that goes true for anyone else that's listening
Hmm.
to this caregiving.
Caregiving and going through hardship at all. I
Hmm.
think that we think we have to be superhuman, and that's just not real.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Well, especially when you've set that standard, like such high standards for yourself. And it's like, Athena, again, going back to you, you do have such high standards for yourself. And so whenever you don't measure up, even
Hmm.
if you're doing a phenomenal job, it may not feel good enough to you,
Hmm.
even though you're doing amazing. So, and I
And I
think
know
that
I'm not
goes the
alone.
same way.
I know there are
Yeah.
people out there that feel this way,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I
that
feel
we
that way sometimes. Like, my daughter had the flu, or well, we all had the flu 2 weeks ago, and then we had some kind of like head cold flu last week. And so it's 2 weeks back to back that I'm caregiving for a toddler and trying to take care of myself. And my husband's also sick, and we're living in a house that's kind of like in shambles right now because we had a flood at the beginning of January. So it's like, I get it. Like, even though I'm not caregiving in the capacity that Athena is right now, like, I get that sense and that feeling of like I have such high standards that I hold for myself and I don't feel like I'm measuring up because I've gotten behind on deadlines or assignments or projects and so I'm speaking this life into myself too today.
yes, you are.
Like it doesn't matter what you're going through. If it's something hard, like you can feel these same emotions and your body's
Hmm.
going to react in a very similar fashion. So,
But we're both standing here,
yes.
and we want you guys to hear that we're real, just like you.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
we struggle and have to. So the things that we're talking about, I hope you guys understand that we're saying it from the heart and from experience.
Mhm.
And and Jada, you are not dropping balls either. I mean, here's the thing. If somebody else were put in our shoes, I think it would look worse. The problem is you and I do hold ourselves to such a high standard. So this is a really good show about offering grace and forgiveness to self
One of
and
my favorite
resetting
things.
expectations, huh?
So one of my favorite things whenever I like have made a mistake at work is you or Tim saying, "Thanks for reminding us that you're also human."
It's exactly. It's okay. It's good. All right. All right. Here
It's
we
so
go.
true. But before we do jump into the next segment, which next we're going to reframe what's actually happening. So in your
Mm,
body and why. But before we jump into that, I do want to invite everyone to our March webinar. So Athena is going to be tackling the topic of the 2 minute pivot decision making mastery to get out of emotional quicksand. So, if you are someone that's struggling with that spiral or the emotional freeze when life does start piling up, when life feels hard, then this webinar is for you. Athena is going to be teaching you how to go from frozen to mastering your emotions within minutes. And the webinar is at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, Tuesday, March 31st. I'll put the link to sign up in the show notes, and we would love to see you there. But let's jump into what is actually happening in your body. So,
Yes,
your
please.
brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Can you believe that?
Okay, I'm
It is
listening.
it's conserving energy. It's shutting down your non-urgent functions, prioritizing your survival, and it's trying to
Mm,
protect you. Your
yeah.
brain wants you to stay alive. Shocker. And so that's why you feel so fatigued, why you feel so drained
Mhm.
emotionally, physically,
Yeah.
everything. And so that's why your concentration is disappearing. Your motivation is evaporating. You are forgetting things. Maybe you have that brain fog, like Athena described. Everything just feels heavier than normal. And that's because your brain is doing what it's supposed to do. So you're not failing. You're navigating something sacred,
Mhm.
traumatic, exhausting, and relentless. And you are still showing up. That's not failure. That's courage to keep showing up.
Amen to that. I thank you for sharing that because just even yesterday, I need to hear this. Um, I was laughing with a group of people. My husband was at my speech yesterday, and I was sharing about how I used to have it's kind of odd, but I have almost a photographic memory for conversation. So not written word because I'm dyslexic, so that doesn't work. But so my brain is overcompensated, right? So my brain is overcompensated, so I remember conversations verbatim from years ago, and I have a very good, like, elephant brain memory typically. Not right now. And so it is one of those signs that my brain is like, "Look, you don't need that's energy of retaining all that you don't need." And so I that trusting that gift, if you will, right now, it's just not as clear. And that is one of those signs that my brain is fatigued and it's just putting energy into other things. And doesn't mean it won't come back. It just means right now it's tired. And we were laughing um about it as a group of the people I spoke with. But more importantly, I think what's m- really, really critical and why I speak at all is afterwards people were coming up to me and a woman came up to me and said, "I wish my friend got to hear you today." And I said, "Your friend, tell me." And she said, she has a 42-year-old son who is like your daughter, still in diapers and nonverbal, and he's on hospice. And my friend's mom's in hospice. And my friend is a doctor who is single, who is had to take a sabbatical from being a doctor to care for her mom and son, who are both dying. And, I just stopped right there, Jada, and I said, "Can I, pray for you and pray for your friend? Can we do that?" And we did that. But it really it put me back on my toes for a second, and I'm like, you never know. You do not know when you're talking with other people what they're going through or what somebody they love or is going through. And had I not been willing to talk about my struggle, that wouldn't have happened. And that was just one conversation that came up to me. Um, Another lady came up to me and told me her cancer was back and that she hadn't told anybody. And so as you are listening to this right now, the world is a hurting place. And right now, there's so many people hurting with feeling alone, isolated, anxiety, depression, all the things. It's easy to put that on ourselves and shame ourselves. And I'm laughing about it. I have to laugh about it because I struggle very much with not excelling. So I have to kind of laugh to give myself some grace. But on a very serious side, if you're listening to this, we want you to know that as you're going through hardships, your body will respond differently. And there's some of it you can't control, and I'm really learning that right now, and that you're just really not alone. N The more honest you are, the more people will be honest with you on what they're going through. If you're a person who wants to hear that. Some people don't wanna hear that or stand with that with people. I just happen to I know personally that when I focus on other people, I don't wallow, right? It's one of the reasons I love doing my philanthropic work is because when I'm serving, I am less selfish, self-absorbed, and so, that's something I've learned a long time ago. So, still having compassion for others and being there for other people, for me, is an outlet for, survival and, not to wallow. So,
Yeah.
and just to know that people are hurting. So we need to get this message out. But I want to give you guys some rubber meets the road. Like, what do we do with this, right? I mean, and I know this is kind of heavy, but this is the real world that we're living in. But we need to start giving ourselves and by the way, this is homework for Athena. But we need to give ourselves permission statement. We need to say out loud to ourselves, "There's nothing wrong with me. Something hard is happening, and my job right now is to survive this season with as much as grace as possible." It's okay to, have statements where like, it's okay that if I need to rest now. It's okay if I need to go spend a couple of minutes alone and have a cry. It's okay if I need to reach out to people to talk to somebody more than normal. It is okay if I need whatever it is that you need, and that it is okay. And I hope if you're listening, I'm not giving and I have to say this, I am not giving people who just make excuses in their life, this is not that. I'm talking about people living life full out, not people who watch Netflix all day or sit in front of your computer playing video games all day unprofessionally and are not engaged, intact in life, fighting to live well. I'm talking about the people who are doing the best you freaking can with the life you've been given, and life is still hitting you
Oh,
hard. That's who I'm talking to here. Those are the people who need to give themselves permission. The single moms out there, the moms of children with special needs, the dads of children with special needs, the people going through health issues, the people whose house floods and their whole house has been sick, by the way, for about 18 months. You know?
that's what it feels like.
Yeah. I'm like, what happened? You had a baby and then like like a hover of illness hit your house. I'm
I would
serious.
love to know.
I know. I don't know. I just think there's some cleansing, It's like there's some changes that need to happen. I don't know. But, it's but you can't that's the reality, right? And and by the way, most people who have babies, you realize they get around other babies and guess what? Everybody starts to get sick, right? And that's
Yeah,
the
they don't
kind of
have an
thing.
immune system till they get sick, so they've gotta get it somehow.
I know. And so, you're like, you know what you're doing? You're suffering while your daughter's building her immune system.
I
Woo!
hear ya. It's
But
funny too because I thought I had such a strong immune system until she started getting sick, and I'm like, "I guess I did not."
well, now you will now. See, you're number 2, baby number 2, you'll be like, "I got this.
I
I'm
got
done."
it.
Right? But
True.
these are the people I'm talking about, the people that we need to give permission to. And I'll just tell you one of my permission statements that have been very difficult for me, but I'm proud of, is as soon as Savannah went into hospice, she meets with her hospice team every Friday afternoon, and I struggle to tell myself, "Well, you should just be, once she meets with her team, you should go back to work." And I'm like, no, sometimes I'm emotional after they leave, and so I'm not good for work anyway. And sometimes I'm like, no, I think I'm going to get in the car and go take her to the mall, right? Sometimes I'll work if I'm in the mood for it, and wants to take a nap if she's really tired. But I'm giving myself that permission to be flexible with that time to do what I need to, what she needs. And so I want you guys to think permission statements, allowing yourself to give yourself permission. Number 2, one priority rule. You can only the whole "I can handle it all." Beep. First of all, I don't think we ever really could, but w when you are under a lot of pressure or stress or illness or something is going on, then you gotta decide your priorities. what's really important. What's really important. Now, in my case, my number one thing is Savannah, right? And I'm going to say this out loud. I continue to work very hard for the home building business. I'm doing the best I can with the consulting business. The nonprofit, if they need me, they'll still reach out and I'll answer what I need to there. But none of that compares to my daughter. If Savannah needs me to stay home for the day, then everything else gets moved and allocated to different times. She is the most important thing right now. Do I have to juggle the other stuff? Yeah. But I want you to think, what is the most important thing? And prioritize. Like Jada, you've done an excellent job since you've had your daughter. She's your number one priority. Now that makes you have to, I mean, you work like you juggle and work silly to make it work.
Yeah.
You do.
Let's just say my
And
team's probably never surprised when they get an email from me at, like, 5:45 in the morning or, like, 8
no,
PM at night.
no, because you're doing what you need to do to be able to be a mom and have a career. But your number one focus is her. So this is why it's important to understand this. So if you're going through a health battle, your health is the number one thing. If somebody that you love is struggling, they're the number one thing. It doesn't mean the other things don't have to get done, but it means that thing is here and then everything rotates around it. Okay? So Jada, her daughter, and then everything rotates around it. Me, my daughter, everything rotates around it. That helps us have clarity, and I hope you guys it gives you, where you don't feel guilt and shame because that I did at the beginning. I still struggle a little bit because I have but I'm like, "No, my priority is my daughter, and the rest will I'll do the best that I'm gonna do." And, so I just want you guys to think, what's the one important thing that everything rotates around? Okay? Because frankly, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but you can get a new job. I can build a new company, you know, but I'm never gonna get this time back with my daughter, right? So you got to think about those things. All right, number 3, ask for help. Again, I told you at the beginning, people aren't reaching out. And to Jada, thank you so much for being transparent. They don't know what to say. What do you say to somebody that's watching their kiddo get on is on a road to heaven? You don't know. First of all, in my case, that's not something people even wanna digest putting their toes into. You know what I mean? No one wants to be like, "Well, I wonder how she feels." No, you don't wanna even think about how I feel.
No.
You don't want to see I mean, and no one wants to put their toes in my shoes that my only biological child is dying right in front of me. No one wants to put their feet in that. So even if they love me, they don't know they don't wanna digest it. Some of them I don't think even wanna be touched by that. And
Well,
and
and some
I
people just
yeah.
have, like, natural tendencies to wanna fix things, and that's not something that can be fixed like you talked about,
No.
like,
You know
you can't fix it.
that's one of the things so we had a Bible study at my house last night, and one of the things that we said my husband was mentioning, he said, I wish I could fix this." And I had to look at him, Jada, and I said, "I don't need you to fix this. God is fixing this. God is fixing this by taking her home." Right? And so when step 3 here, how to ask for help. I want you to understand if you have cancer, you're going through something hard, or you've had a miscarriage, or you guys just think of all the things, or you went bankrupt, or you just found out your husband's been cheating on you for years, right? I have a friend. They've been married 25 years. She's just found out he's been cheating on her for 10. That's devastating. Devastating, right? So when you're in those circumstances, what do? You reach out, you gotta get brave, and you have to reach out and tell people what you need. So here, like, for example, this is the pot talking to the kettle, y'all. This is me saying what I need from my friends. But hey, you guys, my brain is overloaded. Could you help me with maybe a meal? Could you come and just sit with me? Could you go to the mall? Can you pray with me? Could you go on a ride with me? Could you just check on me? And even tell them, like, I may not respond very fast, but I appreciate you. I just want to feel like I matter. If you reached out to people and said that, I think all of us would be shocked at how many people are like, I've been waiting for you to ask. I just didn't know what to say or what to do. Right.
Mhm.
And so I think that's, um, important that you know that you don't have to do it alone and that the isolation is because they're confused a little bit. So I want you guys to be emboldened to do that. And that's something that I have gotten a little bit better. I've been doing, Jada, if you see my calendar, I do it on Saturday and Sundays, Sunday afternoons and Saturday mornings. I reach out to my friends. I'm like, would you go on a walk with Savannah and I? And I'm booked. Like, everyone says, "Oh my god, yeah."
I'm like,
And we
"Please,
go
yes,
on the
thank you for
yes.
asking."
Yeah, and they're so excited because we go on a walk, and what's beautiful in that walk is they tell me everything going on in their life. They get to see her. I get to have community, and it's something that's beautiful and necessary. So, again, number 3, it's okay to ask people for help. I did that. I reached out to one of my girlfriends this last week and I said, "Hey, no one's reaching out to my husband. Can you help me?" And last night, her husband reached out to mine and said, "Hey, myself and this other guy that my husband adores, we're going to this comedy thing. Are you free?" He's so excited. He gets to go, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, they thought of me." Now I'm not he won't listen to this. So he'll not know that but my friend was like, "We want to be there for you. We just didn't know what to do." So her husband's like, "Well, let's go to a comedy club with him." Okay? But you got to reach out and sometimes ask for help. The biggest thing is I don't want you to think that you're alone. I want you to know that there is hope that you'll get through this. And that you may feel like you're cracking, you may feel like you need to be defensive, you may feel like you have to be strong, but can I tell you, just get up and everyday move. Um, it's okay if you fall behind, just pick yourself up. Even if you do, you're not failing. That Athena, even though you dropped the ball, it doesn't mean you're failing. It just means you're human. Like when Jada makes mistakes, we're like, "Oh, thank you for being human. You're
Thanks for
human."
reminding us.
Yep. And I think this is something I really want you guys to hear because it's something I'm listening to too, is that the difficult season is not your identity. It's a season. It will shape you, but it doesn't define you. And that's what this podcast is about is, the shit doesn't define you. Even the hard doesn't define you. It can transform you into something better. So today I want you just to breathe. I would really hope that you'd go love on somebody and allow somebody to love on you. And I hope that you know that you can keep going, that you have enough in you and enough around you. I will say this. Again, this is not a Christian podcast, but I could not do this without my relationship with Jesus Christ. I was just telling a coaching client yesterday, I have never prayed more in my entire life than I do right now. This is no exaggeration. I probably pray 50 or more times a day. Um, and they're little prayers. And sometimes, you guys, it's all, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Help me. Or help me be able to hear this person or whatever. They're little, but they're all day, every day. And that has really sustained me, Jada. That has been really a beautiful thing. And so, I just want to tell you guys, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having the courage to want to be better, to do the rubber meets the road, and share this with other people so you can make an impact. Because the world, come on, it's time we all start loving on each other.
Mm,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, if you enjoyed this podcast, we would love for you to like and subscribe so you can join us next week for episode 2. We will link our book launch list in the show notes as well. Athena's book is coming out soon, so make sure you get on that list so you get all the extra goodies that no one else is going to get unless they sign up for this. And then we'll link that March webinar event page so you can sign up for that. And then You can also find us anywhere if you're looking for us on social media, other platforms. You can find us just about anywhere. So just Google Athena Captain and you are bound to find us. She has a pretty cool and unique name. But as a serious note, just to leave you guys with, this is not your practice life. So don't wait for it to be perfect. Just start messy, start scared. Just start because nothing's going to change until you do. So take one step today toward the life that you want and dare to share it with us. We'll be here standing with you every step of the way. We'll see you next week.